Let's breathe in. One more time. Breathe in. Muy bien. Excellent. So I want to thank you for your time, for the time you are taking to participate in this brief summary uh, presentation. The main topic as an introduction today has to do with the stages of change. The stages of change. Developed by Prochaska and Di Clemente in the 1980s, 1990s. They developed these stages of change with the main goal to help individuals acknowledge the need to make some personal changes, some behavioral modifications. So when it comes to the experience of change or making modifications, it's hard, it's difficult for some people, especially if the behavior you have engaged for so long, it's going to take longer for you to make that change. Now, so once again, the stages of change, the main goal is to help individuals be able to see, be able to acknowledge, be able to admit the need to make some behavior modification, behavioral modifications. So in this case, um, we are talking about anger issues and healthy anger issues. We are talking about domestic violence, aggression, and violence toward the victim, either female or male. So when someone has been ordered by the court to attend and successfully complete either a 52-week, 26-week, 12-week domestic violence program, um, it becomes very difficult for some people to go through the process of doing a program they may not want to do since they had been ordered by the court, or probation, or parole, or CPS. I mean, some kind of criminal charges took place. And now they are to follow through and comply with the court's orders. So the stages of change help individuals to be able to see step by step the necessity to acknowledge they are to make a commitment to decrease and stop the violent behavior. Now, as a comment right here in regard to domestic violence, though it's not the topic, but it's okay to review. So domestic violence primarily it's a crime. More than, I mean, it's a crime, yes. People go to jail. But more than a crime, it is a serious psychological impact on the victim and children. Not only in the victim and children, but also on the perpetrator, the one who committed the act of violence. But obviously, you know, highly considering the safety and protection of victims of domestic violence and children. That's the primary consideration when it comes to domestic violence. Now, domestic violence has to do with emotional abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and physical abuse. So domestic violence is not going to start right away with physical violence. Mostly everything is going to start with emotional abuse, making the other person feel inferior, intimidating the victim, emotionally speaking, psychologically speaking, trying to submit to control the victim. From the emotional abuse, there is another type of abuse that is going to increase, and this is called verbal abuse. So not only intimidating the victim by looks, by throwing things, by being demanding, by being controlling, but also they increase those having issues with domestic violence and emotional regulation, self-control, they increase it to verbal abuse. And I won't give examples of verbal abuse. We already know, when people use those nasty, bad, inappropriate, vulgar, uh, uh, hurtful vocabulary words toward the victim. You know what I'm talking about. From there, from the emotional, verbal is going to increase to physical, even from, touching, grabbing, pulling, pushing, punching, kicking, throwing objects toward the victim. So that's physical abuse. And from there on, we have the other types of abuse. I call them the relatives: social abuse, spiritual abuse, economic abuse, stalking, sexual abuse, all those things. Now, that's just a review. Now, within the stages of change, we have 6 stages. Number one is pre-contemplation. Pre means before, Contemplation means to see, to consider, to think about it. Mhm. So pre-contemplation means that the individual doesn't see the need at all to make a change. Doesn't see the need at all to make a change. So pre-contemplation then means that the individual doesn't see, doesn't acknowledge, doesn't admit that he or she was violent to the victim. So they may tend to blame, deny, or minimize the problem within pre-contemplation. So pre-contemplation then is there is no plan, no need to change. There is nothing for me to change. This is the way I am, this is who I am, period. Mhm. So pre-contemplation. So if the person has been ordered to do 52 weeks, which is a year, or 26 weeks, or 12 weeks, I mean, how long is it going to take for this individual to allow himself or herself to acknowledge he or she has been violent to the victim? It is necessary for this individual to acknowledge in order to move on to the next stages. Obviously, there is going to be a process or the time when this individual is ready to decide to make this uh, move to the next level. So the second stage is called contemplation. Contemplation means that the individual is able to see, is able to acknowledge, is able to admit openly that he or she has been violent to the victim. They may say, well, it's my bad. I know I did bad. I know I wasn't supposed to do it. There isn't much I can do. I mean, we all make mistakes. No one is perfect. I don't know. I mean, I guess I won't do it again. So that's contemplation. Contemplation means the individual is able to acknowledge, to see that he or she was violent to the victim. But they have no plan to change. They have no vision or no determination to start the process to recover, to start the process to make behavior modification. Okay? So then, pre contemplation means there is nothing for me to change, whatever, I don't care. Contemplation means, oh my goodness, I know I did wrong, but hey, everybody made mistakes. Though I don't know how to go about making those changes. And then we have the third stage. Okay, the third stage has to do with preparation. So number one, pre-contemplation. Number two, contemplation. And number three, preparation. So the individual is ready to look forward, to start looking for help, to start allowing himself or herself to learn ways to cope with unhealthy anger. he or she is ready and allows himself or herself to be open to learn coping skills, conflict resolution skills, assertive, positive, clear communication skills, healthy relationship skills. So the preparation means I'm ready. I'm ready to see within myself what I need to restore, what I need to improve, what I need to do better. There is humbleness, which means the person is open to walk toward the truth, toward being open to learn ways to make the behavior modification, to decrease and to stop the violence. So, pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation. Mhm. So, the individual is open to learn, to make the behavior modification, but he or she needs guidance. He or she needs uh, the program, the counseling, the psychotherapy, the group therapy, the group support. Hmm. Very good. So then we have the fourth stage, which is called uh, action. Mhm. The fourth stage is called action. Okay, that means the person is making changes. The person is being violence free, alcohol free, drug free, doing very well. Mhm. Implementing the discussed and learned skills, positive communication, calming techniques, breathe in and breathe out. The individual is taking time out to prevent and stop any kind of conflict that may become more stressful. So the individual has been violence free, has been violence free for a while. No more violence because he or she is learning those expected coping skills. Mhm. Attentive listening, conflict resolution skills, relationship skills, uh, taking time outs, implementing positive thinking, positive self talk, implementing what we are, what I discuss with individuals, the sacred medicine wheel, spiritual balance, emotional balance, physical balance, mental balance. That as long as we keep those four healing factors, we are going to be balanced. We are going to continue recovering and experiencing healing within ourselves. So, pre contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and the fifth one is maintenance. That is, the person is recovered, is doing very well, is finishing the program, is finishing the 52-week, the 26-week, the 12-week. It's ready to graduate, ready to move on to the next level of his or her life. But the sixth one is called relapse. That is, they may go back to the drinking, to the using, to the violence, to the lack of commitment, to the lack of responsibility, and they may start all over again, right? So, briefly speaking, the most important thing that I would like you to consider through this video is pre-contemplation, contemplation, and preparation. Those three ones, right? Those are the three ones that I would like you to focus on. So what is the main goal of the stages of change? The main goal is to allow ourselves to see, explore, and acknowledge anything that we believe we need to change, to improve, to do better. How do we do that? Well, we need to allow ourselves to increase a level of consciousness, being able to see inside, being able to be more aware of the significant need to make those changes. Something that can help is look at the consequence of your behavior. Look at the serious, significant consequence, outcome of your behavior. Hmm? Because, the violent behavior that has been committed has a serious consequence. More than a crime, more than, oh, I went to jail, now I need to do community service, now I need to pay this fee, this and that. More than that is the psychological, the traumatic experience victims of domestic violence go through, and children. So, um, thinking about how family members had been affected due to domestic violence is to help the individual to see, oh my goodness, I feel bad about it. I I really want to make a change. I really want to make it happen. No more violence, no more screaming, no more yelling, no more slamming doors, no more throwing things, no more drinking, no more using. I need to recover. I need to to make it happen. I need to move on to the next level. I need to be a role model to my children. I need to maintain safety at home. So I think this is the subject that I wanted to discuss, to share with you. Um, so let's keep in mind the most important goal within our healing circles is to stay violence free. Remember to see the yellow light. The yellow light says, be careful, be aware, be ready to stop because the red light is about to come. You know the traffic light? Green, yellow, red. So when we see the yellow light, that's when we need to apply the calming techniques, coping skills we have been learning. So don't try to do those coping skills when you are already in the red light. Too late, too late. So let's stay in the green light. Calm, peaceful, breathe in, breathe out, improving a spiritual balance, emotional balance, physical balance, mental balance, positive communication, positive self-talk, positive thinking, family quality time. So let's breathe in,